Welcome to Blynd Submyshynz, where DIY bands submit songs for us to listen to and react to blind. Every week, we'll bring a guest from the underground music, arts, or entertainment scene to help you soar through mountains of new music. We go in blind so you don't have to. Blynd Submyshynz.
Blynd Submyshynz.
Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode of Blynd Submyshynz. Again, we have a different introduction here. We have a guest already sitting here.
Lately.
Yeah, we're getting weird. So
We're getting weird.
Today we have the very own guitar player from KOOK, Karl Larson. Hey Karl, how you doing?
Good.
Good.
Who else is in KOOK?
We have talked about you a bit.
Oh, good.
You come up on the podcast whenever we talk about like weird songwriting tics or people who like dissonant chords. You've come up once or twice.
Cool.
And we're in the practice studio, so you can finally see.
This is where the magic happens.
Depending on your idea of what magic is. This is where the KOOK happens. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Can you see if Karl scoots over towards JD just a little bit, you can see Eric's drum head back there, the little KOOK other way.
Oh, the other way.
Yeah, right down there. There we go.
See that?
If you're only listening on the podcast, you got to go watch this one on YouTube because there will be things to see
It actually does feel really weird to actually have a guest here
in person.
It's
I know.
really odd.
I think this is the first time we've done
Most
it, right?
everybody's been on Zoom. Actually, I think everybody's been on Zoom.
been on Zoom. You're our first live guest.
One of 89.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Woo! How
Or
appropriate.
79.
79. 79.
All right, which one we got? We're gonna turn Karl up a little bit. He's the middle one, right?
Yes.
Okay, sweet. So I've never interviewed you before. We have had lots of long talks on the road, though.
Yeah.
That usually end up coming down to talking about Rush and Alex Lifeson.
Yeah.
Oh, that's something right there that comes up on that on the podcast a lot.
That
is
has come
what
up
a
a few
fan of
times.
Alex Lifeson you are.
Yeah.
I am. Yeah, for sure. And it's kind of cool because I almost, I really like Michael Shenker. And I always there was something in Alex Lifeson and Michael Shenker that kind of reminds me of each other. And then I didn't even know until a few years ago that, like, right in that time when there was, like, UFO was slamming and Rush they were on tour together.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, they were on tour together, and then they used to get, that was the Robe era of 2112.
Oh,
and
shit.
They used to get UFO used to just tease them, and they would like screw slippers in by Geddy Lee and stuff like that, just to give them shit about the Robe look. Yeah, so it's kind of cool, like the way that Alex plays and the way that Michael Shenker plays is kind of similar.
Really?
You know, and in a little bit more, not necessarily. Well, a little bit in the music theory part of it, but just like this, the way that they can kind of get those squeals that just kind of pop, that's just, you know.
Odd note choices.
Yeah.
It was funny. I was listening so I got that 40th anniversary of Moving Pictures. And, you know, the second side of that album is like, oh, they've been listening to the Police for sure.
Oh, yeah,
like,
yeah. Well, I remember reading Guitar Player magazine articles, and he totally full on was Andy Summers guy.
So like I started imagining what it would have been like if instead of playing for Rush for all those years, if he had like started off life in a new wave band. I could totally hear Alex Lifeson in like a straight late 70s, early 80s new wave band.
And they would have had a whole bunch of haters on that.
Oh, of
like,
course.
Dude, come back to rock and roll, please.
all that jangly chorus and like his weird bright tones. And then I think about the Geddy Lee and the whammy bar. And I think about the Geddy Lee Steinberger years, which was like, man, they must have paid him a lot of money to pay that goofy little bass.
Yeah. Boy.
Have you ever played one of the Steinberger guitars?
No, but I had that Les Paul that we used on the last record that had the Steinberger tuners.
Oh, that's right. That Future Les Paul?
Les Paul Future, yeah.
Yeah, that thing was weird.
It is, and I ended up, I got it with my buddy, and then I ended up, like, looking at, like, all my guitars and just being, I gotta let some of these go. And I was like, I know that my buddy's, every time he plays it, he liked it, and I was like, okay, I need to, like, let go of some of my stuff. And this guy's been a cool dude my whole life, so I went over to his house and I gave him that guitar with the Steinbergers. I mean, I played it on that last record, but you know, Brian.
Yeah.
And then so the next day he's all, I'm gonna be right over in a second. And he knocks on my door. He's got the same checkerboard case that I have, the one that's sitting right over there.
Yeah.
And I was like, he just won't take it. He's just kind of guy. So I grabbed it, went back and put it in the barn, and then just sat there and like, come check out some of these. So we were sitting there playing guitars, and I started talking about, it's not just weird how that guitar keeps coming back to me, and then he's like, oh, and then I'm all, what did you do to the guitar? Because he gave me this weird look, and I went over and it popped up, and there's that Silverburst.
Oh, that's so
he
gave you a Les Paul.
He goes, "Oh, you can't just give me a guitar," and then he gave me this Silverburst that's down here now.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
sweet.
So it's like give good things to the universe, and then we'll give them back.
That's what I thought. I'm like, I'm trying to, be less is more and everything like that, and it just keeps wanting to bring.
It's like the boomerang guitar.
Yeah,
you threw it, and it was like was it the very next day, literally?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, Brian's a super good guy, though. I would expect something like that from him, but not ahead of time.
And he always was the kind of guy that had to pay every time he went out. Like, no matter how many people were at the table, it's like he had to be the one, no matter what, to drop the thing. So he just didn't like one upping him.
Yeah,
I'm more of a friend to you.
That's funny.
Yeah. So we did mention, Jeff has mentioned on the show before, Alex Lifeson influencing you so much in your guitar playing, but how did you kind of get into music originally?
That's kind of funny because when Jeff went over the show, how the show's going to roll out, I was like, Alex Lifeson popped to my head because that was probably the first kind of him and Andy Summers, I think, at that time, and then not just shortly after was Hendrix and Tony Iommi. But when I used to listen to Alex Lifeson, want to be like him and kind of just like pray, like if I could just be as good as him, I'd be good. But then I think what really kind of made me like want to be in bands and stuff like that is, well, I think at that time I wanted to be in bands, but there was that guy Joseph Campbell that used to be on PBS. I don't know if you guys have heard of him. He was kind of like this guy that tied in all these world religions. How they were all kind of like pointing towards thing. Well, he had this saying, and everybody got caught on it. It was like, follow your bliss and do what you want to do with your life. Like,
yeah, he's
almost a little bit almost tinging on like the Aleister Crowley thing, but it's more like follow your bliss was his thing.
Yeah, well, you can't be an English major and not study Campbell. I mean, he like described the hero's journey arc in mythology and the whatever, the hero with 1,000 faces. Yeah. He basically showed how all of these old myths were like the same story being told.
Wait, what's his name again?
Joseph Campbell.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And he gave these series of talks, interviews, and they were just really amazing. They would tie in. It was he consulted Star Wars a little bit to how to get how that story should lay out, like mystically and hero to down, like Frodo or something. He starts off all kind of meek, and by the end he's a hero.
Yeah,
but
that's the hero's journey.
So I really got into those, and it talks a lot about like basically just not wasting your time with try to do what you want to do with your life. And even though things didn't roll out maybe in my life the way exactly that I wanted to, like I still like kind of
think about that.
I hold on to it. I hold on to it with what we do. Yep. It's like this. I would go home, and as soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to go play my guitar, and I'm going to focus as much of my time on this as I possibly can. And that's kind of started right back then and there. Because I really did want to be a guitar player after hearing Rush and Hendrix and stuff, and just being blown away.
Yeah. Oh, I remember. I mean, we had a rough day here post tour where we decided we needed to change drummers.
Oh yeah.
And I remember after it was done, you were just like, I'm too old. Like I need to play with people who are in it, who want to do it and are putting their time and energy into it. I don't want to mess around with people who are going to waste time and fuck around.
I still feel that way when somebody cancels practice. I just I want to send that emoji with the guy with the snort, the big blow things coming out of his nose. I steam for about 15 minutes, and then I call Troy and I talk a bunch of shit really quick in text. And then Troy's, I'm all, don't tell anybody. But Troy's usually good. He talks me off the cliff every time. And I usually, by the time I'm like, fuck, people got to live their lives. But I do get like really...
he's intense.
Yeah.
Well, it comes out in the music, I think. I mean, this has been a really fun time too. JD and I were just listening to a couple of the practice takes from Tuesday on the way over here, and I love hearing how like stepping outside of being a person in the band and just thinking back like 3 versions back and 5 versions back, and then hearing the little things that we just keep like tightening.
It's an interesting way to do things. I mean, we basically bake it and like work on the recipe, and eat the cookie and then go, oh yeah, like that's pretty good. And then we keep finding ways.
Get a little more crunch out of this one if we just tweak the recipe a little.
Yep.
Maybe
It's just
make
how
it a
does
little
this puzzle
chewier.
fit better? As you start playing it, your parts come and it's like, oh, okay, I see what he's doing. Those guys lock in, and then I'm like, oh, I don't even have to play as much. I can like back out. And,
Yep.
Yeah, it's great. I'm loving it that you're back and.
Oh yeah, it's good.
Full.
So KOOK is band number what?
How many bands have you been in?
Oh, not many.
Sin City Motorfly. Was there anything before that?
No, Sin City was my first band, and then that was basically the same band that just changed its name and kind of its music direction. And then I was Imperial Space Pod with Mitch French
From Operator Generator. Who has also come up.
Yeah,
yes,
twice.
Hey, Mitch.
Times.
Mitch is like, and it's been cool. I there was a long time after Imperial Space Pod when he was like an Operator Generator. We were still like tight and friends and stuff, and we kind of drifted apart just because of like work and like I don't really call people anyways. So it's like it's. But
if you're not in a band,
but it's kind of cool. He's back in San Jose now, and we kind of it's really been cool hanging out with him because. We both do the same thing. We kind of like we have gas and we look for gear on Craigslist on the internet, try to find a deal and try to move gear to get more gear. And it's kind of nice having a friend come back and it's like you guys are almost the same. We do the same thing, and he's got a son, Lucas, who's in Lazer Beam, who Mitch tours with, and Lucas is like just a couple years older than my son. Both kids. I mean, Lucas is like a superstar and Owen's just like learning super fast. It's really interesting how my buddy from that time was
back in the day.
And we both drank a lot back then, and we both are kind of suffering some of the repercussions of it right now. But we're both like kind of a little bit on a health kick, so
that's good.
Hopefully everything.
Sweet.
So
Imperial Space Pod, you were in Seattle, right?
Here so Mitch had a band before Imperial Space Pod, Dear Deceased, who's another band besides Operator Generator that people should listen to.
Yes, we have mentioned them.
And then George from Dear Deceased went to go on High on Fire, and with Matt, and then, but that was after me and Mitch went and did Imperial Space Pod. And then pretty much after that, after a brief little like hanging out with Matt and jam with Matt, then it was kind of like Baby 2 came.
Yeah.
Bought a house.
Makes it kind of hard.
Yeah. I remember
especially if with somebody that wants to take it really seriously and tour and record and
Yeah, and it was kind of like, I don't know. Like, when you're 30 and you're kind of like getting drunk and passing on somebody's couch, it's like, oh, that's cute. And then but after that, I was like, this isn't going to last. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, it's not going to be okay to be like living life on the lowdown. Like, I mean, like I could fit everything in my van. I was like barely owned anything except for my guitars and the clothes I wore. And now all of a sudden I got kids. So you got to kind of own a spatula and a pot,
like can opener.
You gotta own all that stuff. So you
your
can
van
take care of them.
Your van can't carry all that shit anymore.
Oh, that's crazy.
That's like a saying. I think that's a T-shirt.
Own a spatula.
You kind of have to own a spatula. We own a few. Actually, my wife just went through the process of weeding out. We had too many spatulas. I think we're now at the point where the kids are old enough that we're like, we don't need so many spatulas. Like,
we're there.
Good.
It's just hard, looking at things and going, well, one day I'm going to do this with that. And then like 5 years later, oh, that thing right there.
God damn it.
Yeah.
So then after jamming with Matt and stuff, you took a band break until KOOK?
Yeah.
I
just started like trying to hold a job, so I could and try to think about a job that I could kind of grow in, and then like I said, bought a house, but we lived way up north, which is weird. I moved like 4 hours north of San Jose, and then like a couple years later, George lived like right down the block, and his brother, George Rice from Dear Deceased, and then his brother lived right next door, so it's kind of weird. I was like, okay, maybe I'm away from music, but maybe it's coming back.
It's following you.
Yeah, it's
following you. It's meant to be.
Not really.
That's funny. If you God, it feels like if you just went and like gave all your shit away today, you'd go home, and then tomorrow there like a mysterious crate would end up on your doorstep, and it would be full of gear.
That's happened before, yeah. Something like that's happened before. I had a guitar ripped off out of the Rock Garden Studios in San Jose, a nice 73 Les Paul, and then a bunch of bands. I found the flyer the other day that a bunch of bands got together at the Cactus Club, and like the next thing you know, I had enough money to go to Guitar Showcase and
oh shit, that's awesome.
I wanted. Yeah.
The infamous Rock Garden, that's where Sleep filmed the video for.
Oh, that's true. That is true. They did upstairs.
The Dragonaut video, right?
Yeah. And and it's now the Pierce. It was when I first moved back to San Jose, like I don't know, maybe 10, 12 years ago. It was still
there.
Yeah, there's still the building there.
Yeah, because I was practicing in it up until the very end. I was playing with Larry. I don't know who I was playing with, but we were sharing a room with Jimmy and Dan the Man when they were still doing Swerver. Yeah,
was that the Jet video band?
No,
the
God,
flags
no.
and the Jets.
We don't talk about that. We don't talk about the band with Sean and Larry. No, that was a very different experience.
Yeah. The Rock Gardens was pretty fun. I mean, especially since you practice right there, and then right down the street is the main bar and bars that everybody would play at. I mean, so it's just like you practice. It's like leaving. You're done with practice. What are you gonna do? It's Thursday night. Like you're just right at the bar, and promoting your next show and getting a few free drinks. And
it was 2 blocks from the Ritz.
Right.
Oh man.
Basically,
there was a place in Salt Lake called the Bar and Grill that was literally a parking lot away from the main practice studio that everybody practiced at. So you always wanted to play the Bar and Grill because you could just wheel your shit across the parking lot right into the back door and onto the stage. Yeah. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So Larry, who you were in Sin City and Motorfly with, and I have been friends for a long time. Yeah. And he told me the story of the night you guys opened for Bang Tango at the Cactus Club right after that video hit MTV, the Someone Like You video. And it was like, his memory was like, we're opening for this band called Bang Tango. I don't really know anything about him. And then that video blew up, and then you guys showed up, and there's like a line around the block of people waiting to get into the show.
There was a line around the block just for us. Just for every single show we played. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
No, you guys,
and a row of Harleys out front.
Yes. You guys were fucking popular, man. Yeah. Because, I'm 5 years younger, plus or minus, and I remember going to shows at local venues, and it's like Friday night, Sin City, and you'd be like, Sin City.
I know. It was kind of to be honest, like that is a cheesy name, especially like it didn't age well, right? But we actually did want. I was pushing for Nirvana as our name before Nirvana.
For real?
Yeah.
Really.
Ask Larry. I actually totally believe that because
we probably would have. Nirvana wouldn't have. It wouldn't have changed music forever because I don't think we were good enough to do that.
You guys were good, and we went. You did a reunion show, like.
Oh yeah, that was good.
Was that before we started playing?
Just before.
Yeah, it was right before we went inside the. If you were in the Bay Area for a period of time, there was a place called the Rock Bar Theater that was a hell of a venue. It
was a hell of a venue.
It used to be Garden City.
It was a casino my whole life, Garden City. It's where you take your prom date for dinner before the prom.
Casino steakhouse.
Yeah, and then it was like Guy Fieri designed a rock club. They literally had a Hummer limousine with flames on the side.
There's an apartment on top that people could sleep in if they were trained. And you basically just pull your semi into the back.
Oh, really?
Just like the Omni was like that.
Yeah.
In Oakland. Kind of like the backstage was this big, huge 3-story warehouse.
Wow, that's crazy. I mean, that place was really cool.
And there were some, probably Jimmy Arsenault put together, like he did that Kirk Hammett Horror Fest show that. Well, there's a video still floating around of like a whole bunch of people, including Matt and Jeff, playing playing covers, like playing a Thin Lizzy cover. I forget what they played all kinds of covers.
Dude, I will never do that. Like with a bunch of other people and act like I'm playing guitar.
It's the all-star cover band.
And one of the reasons is I'm not like a guy that takes a whole lot of time to learn like a catalog of covers. Yeah. Right? You know?
I was thinking about that the other day. The number of other people's songs I can play from start to finish, I could probably count on 2 hands. Like I just never.
I know about 65% of a lot of songs.
I know like the main riff of a bunch of songs, sure, but like playing. Right. I mean, well, shit, 2 of them are because we recorded 2 covers.
I mean, most of the time, like what I do take away from other music is just like the sauce. What are the ingredients that they're doing there?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and for me, I think I'm much more interested in arrangement than anything than like riffs. I'm interested in structure. It's sort of how my brain works.
Yeah.
So like I'm listening, I'm always thinking about how things are structured.
Yeah. I can tell by the way when I'm showing you stuff. You're like, I know that. Just go to the next thing. Get on to, and then once you get like the whole picture, then you kind of start. You like to know how it's structured from the beginning to end instead of like learning a riff.
Yep.
And then you'll play basic until you figure out where to get.
I just need the roots, and then I can lock in the whole structure of the song, and then I'll go back once I don't have to think structurally when I'm experimenting. Like I know what's coming next, and I know what the main note is. Then I'll start to fuck around, and that's what. So for when I listen back to the practice recordings, that's what I'm listening for. Is like I do different stuff every time, and I know what it sounds like in the room, but then I want to hear what it sounds like out of the room.
Yeah, I mean, we take it for granted, thanking Eric, how he pretty much manages the whole recording every single practice.
Oh, it's great.
We act like it, but it is awesome.
JD and I talked about that on the way in
every
here.
single practice,
Yep.
even the ones that, it's just me and you or just me and him, it's like he records it and he's got them all. So like, it's pretty amazing, actually. It's pretty cool. Sorry.
You're good.
Whacking cables.
Yeah.
So
Doing that earlier.
my headphones just got all weird when you move those cords.
Uh-oh.
I think this little dongle's kind of funky.
Is that
That's
better?
Good. That's good now.
Okay.
So Sin City Motorfly got pretty far along the road. You guys did like a Sunset Strip showcase and all that shit, right? At
the Roxy?
At the peak,
Troubadour?
kind of the end of the peak of all.
Yeah,
of
yeah. It was kind of sad. I mean, it was just like there was a whole room full of people, and then they just started leaving one by one. It wasn't good. No, I think that we just were so hyped to go up there. We were kind of I don't know,
extra. That's
acting too much like rock stars before the show.
No, gotcha.
Yeah.
You were like, this is a fucking lock. We're going to dazzle. I can't imagine you thinking like that, though. I spend too much time with you. I can imagine Larry thinking like that, though.
Well, we all kind of thought, I mean, it was weird. That was like things were weird or different back then. It was like the whole goal was either to be totally do-it-yourself independent, like punk rock, and be all fuck everything else, or it was get signed by a major label and get out there and get people putting money in your thing. Now, I'm now like, look at it. We put 2 great records out. That was part of the reason why I wanted to get signed, and is that I wanted access to all those toys that could get you those good sounds. Right?
That permanent record of the music.
And that's why I went to school for audio engineering. It's like I didn't want to sit in a studio and have an engineer tell me what I could and couldn't do. I didn't necessarily want to like run the board and do everything. I just wanted to understand like what was going on and how you put how things exactly all tie together. And,
yeah. I like having like enough of a passing knowledge that I can sit in the studio and not be a total idiot and like
what you doing?
Make reasonable recommendations and ask for reasonable things.
No, you were good. You were good on that when we recorded the last record with Billy.
Yeah,
it was good. I just my at that recording I kind of cranked out my parts, but wanted to be done. Like I was happy enough with them that I wanted to get Troy in there and make sure that he focused on all of his stuff. But it came out good. So.
Yeah. You always wish you had more time. I mean, that was like
you do, and then you're like, well, that was it. That's what we did at that moment.
This is true. Well, I mean, like the first record, we were there for one day, right? Those were those were live takes.
One day, I think it was one day, and all the drums were done, and then we did.
Well, no, the first record, we were all in the room together. It was like with Chris up in Emeryville.
I think when we recorded the next record, there was something about all those mics getting my guitar tone, like that ear mic and the drum mics and everything picking, and then it just made that tone sound so good.
Yeah, it is fun. Yeah, it is, and I've been since we left the studio the last time. I've just been thinking about, all right, what would I do next time? How would I do it different? It was 5 days. That's like it's a long time locked in the room.
Yeah,
in the little room together, like just hammering out.
It's a lot of time.
That was no mixing. That was just tracking. Because Billy mixed everything at his house.
Yeah.
I'm ready to do it again. Let's go back. Let's book time.
That's how many times how many times do you really get to do that? How many times does anybody that like just sits around playing the guitar get to do that? Like dreaming about.
Lock themselves in a room for 5 days.
I mean, I feel lucky, you know. That,
100%. And like locked in a room with a guy whose records I obsessed.
Oh yeah, that
over.
too.
Just like it wasn't just like a guy. It was a guy like I've been listening to the music.
He's got his hands in a bunch of good cookie jars. You know.
I have listened to Disco Volante in California and Dope Smoker, and you know, there's so many records he made that are just like part of my DNA. So it's almost like pinching myself, going, "Is this?" But then at the same time, he's also just like a human. He's just like he's a regular dude.
They all are.
with a head full of puns.
The one that freaks me out, and I saw 2 separate articles this week that cracked up over both about Rick Rubin, and one was like how Rick Rubin made us the most amazing album, and the other one was Black Sabbath talking about recording 13, and Tony Iommi's like, I have no idea what Rick Rubin did. Apparently all he does is just go try it again, and then doesn't like tell you anything or give you any feedback, or he just like goes, all right, try it again. Okay, do it again.
Wow.
Just changes the knobs and the sliders. And
I don't even think.
Is he looking for a performance, or is he?
I don't know. He's like people seem to either love working with him or think he was useless and did nothing.
Yeah. Well, he was probably, when we were in our early 20s with somebody, you're like Quentin Tarantino movie. You at least you're gonna put it on and hear what Rick Rubin's doing next.
Yeah.
Even if you like it or not. If there was he had that window, and maybe he still does to some extent. But.
Yeah, maybe he just had a good ear. You know what I mean? Maybe like he couldn't tell you what to do. He just knew what sounded good when he heard it, and he was like, okay, that's the one.
That's the one.
But that would be so frustrating as an artist.
Does that mean I could be the next Rick Rubin?
Yeah, probably.
I don't know how it works, but that sounded good.
That's the one.
That's the one.
I always kind of think of that Cult Electric album, because that, like, I know it wasn't really culty.
Did he do that?
He did.
Oh man,
that's what.
I love that album.
I do too. But it's not really. It's not really the cult so much. It's kind of like.
Yeah.
It's kind of like AC/DC in Turn Up the Hipness a little bit.
Yeah.
We did a cover.
AC/DC with more scarves.
Yeah.
More scarves.
Yeah, more scarves.
Native American ephemera.
Right.
Tall hats.
And a good-looking singer.
And what? Oh, yeah. We could use one of those. Just kidding, Troy. But what are classic? I know he did Run DMC.
Well, he did the
Blood Sugar Sex,
Blood
Sugar Sex Magic in the house in Hollywood.
Beastie Boys.
Oh, it was 9 Inch Nails. He pretty much relaunched Johnny Cash's career.
Huh.
And when he redid those, he did like 4 or 5 albums with Johnny Cash.
Huh.
When he was like in his 60s or 70s.
Did not know that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, all those black and white, just Cash, like those were all Rick Rubin.
Okay. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Take a sip of your water here.
Rick's done everybody.
All right. Should we listen to some music?
Should we?
Yeah, I think
I like it.
All right.
We got to get tricky today.
We can't.
So hopefully it comes across well.
If you're on YouTube, you're not going to see the screen share this time because we're doing it in person.
You got to stare at us.
Oh,
so you'll put up a big something for the album.
All right, wish list. Oh shit, where does this even start?
It starts 4 in.
So we're looking at that one right there.
Yep.
These are just random, or
people just submit music to us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so bands and labels.
How's our approach to be, kind of brutally honest?
No,
it's up to you.
No,
but,
we don't do that to people.
The general idea is to promote bands that nobody knows, and I think we have sort of defaulted to that's not for me.
Yeah,
that's
okay,
fine.
that's the gong.
Yeah,
yep.
and if something is like truly horrible in all like performance, recording, the whole thing, I'm not gonna lie and say it's not.
Sure.
But
I don't know if I'm gonna be very good at this, because like there's so many bands that I probably had that opinion about like when I was younger, and then turned out to really like them.
Yeah,
and feels kind of
exactly.
Stupid.
Yeah. Well, and the truth is, so
100 years from now, somebody's gonna be looking at this going, Karl said Led Zeppelin sucked.
But we've listened to like between 300 and 400 bands, and honestly, most of it's good.
Yeah,
that's what's really been instructive is how many really good bands there are that no one's ever fucking heard of.
Yeah,
so
all that
many.
competition.
Yeah. Well, and you notice it like when we go on tour, you go and play somewhere with random locals, and you're like, "Fuck, man!
Yeah,
this band." Most of the time, they're pretty good.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're There've been a few.
Sometimes there's some real stinkers.
I'm trying to think.
Okay, I know the good one with that bar that we played with in Washington, where there was a tavern, and it was obvious like the first band was kind of pretty
new.
Yeah. I remember that little
Lucky something.
Yeah, Lucky 13.
Because then when I think when Salem's Ben came on, they're like, oh shit, these guys are like real.
The opener was like maybe their first show or something.
Yeah.
It was very kind of seemed like not well rehearsed and.
Yeah, it was probably the bar that we can play here. And we just played. They played and they weren't terrible. It was just like it was obvious. I think Salem's Ben came on after them, and it was just like, oh shoot,
these are like semi.
These guys are okay.
Local band's first show as opposed to touring bands something hundredth show. Yeah.
All right, so this band is called Pneumothorax. All right, here I'll show the camera. There you go. That's what we're listening to.
I think that's the album name.
That's the album name. All right. Well, it's just one. It's one thing. There's only one thing. There's only one track. Oh, it's Leo Maya.
Leo Maya
from Vancouver, British Columbia.
Is this a solo artist?
I guess there's been a lot of stuff that's like solo projects that people did during the pandemic, but where they played everything. So we've gotten quite a bit of that. Yeah, so all instruments, voice, composition, recording, and mixing by Leo Maya. So this is a one man
show.
So usually we like listen, and then there's a kind of a natural stopping point. We go, okay, yeah, what do you think? Is that something you would keep listening to? What do you like about it?
Okay,
that kind of thing. So here we go.
Sad.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk during the whole thing, or just do we be respectful in this?
We go both ways. Especially when you have Stoner Band number 20 with a 4-minute intro. We'll talk over those.
Okay.
This is a 9-minute song. We're not going to listen to the whole thing. But there's going to be some lead up. Huh. Sounds like film score.
Yeah, it totally does.
It did at that moment. Right when you said that, I wanted to slip something in there, like
right when that I don't know, what was that, a flute?
It sounded like a flute or a keyboard emulating a flute. So here, I'll read this. Pneumothorax is an epic and emotional journey through the artist's real life experience with a total lung collapse. Oh shit!
Interesting.
The song makes the listener experience the multiple mental states of the story, from a calm day suddenly interrupted by pain and fear.
I was going to say that, like, it was kind of right when you stopped it. It was like almost. It was kind of like almost. There was like the ominous beginning of the kid walking in with his dad in the park, and all of a sudden.
All right,
this is the calm day that's about to be interrupted.
Yeah, okay.
Let's hear it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's good context.
It does sound like it's going to really get the full idea of what this song's going to be. You're going to have to listen to the whole thing.
Yeah, which we won't. All right, here we go. So we'll play a game. At what minute will the lung collapse hit?
Where are we at now?
It's got to happen.
We're 150 in, yeah.
And it's a 9-minute song?
Yeah.
I would say it happens probably in the first third of the song for sure.
Yeah, I would think so too. So we got to be getting close.
Playing 4 minutes?
Well,
here, we'll just skip ahead.
Now I got it. Well, what if? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-oh.
There we go.
That was it.
There's the lung collapse.
There's the ambulance coming to get him.
There you go.
Ooh, good call.
Yeah. I got lots of sirens going on in the bass lines in the 2 songs we listened to on the way here. When you listen to our next record, that'll be a theme.
I don't know if that was what he was intending there, but
It's pretty high concept for us.
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm careful what you say, Carl. You don't want to make fun of the guy. Who's
No, it's...
Okay, the beginning's kind of stretching out a little bit.
Yeah. This is right. This is about to hit where it got weird. It's like Porcupine Tree or something, like kind of that like new prog.
Yeah. It's cool. The guy's very talented.
Okay.
All right. That's fascinating. I don't know that it's something I would listen to regularly, but it's probably an interesting exercise to like conceptualize it and write it. And
I'd say there was a couple interesting twists in there, but he needed a little bit more interesting twists in there.
yeah.
Because, I mean, it wasn't like any of the playing was bad or even like but he hit a couple chords that kind of took where he was going with it somewhere that it was like, okay, is it going to go someplace cool? And you're all, no, it's going to go back to.
Yeah, it was weird to see it go back. And also, one of the things with most of these like one-man recordings is they're almost all using programmed drums. And
Were those programmed?
Yeah.
Man, I can never tell.
I think they were. They sounded programmed to me, especially when it got into that like kind of cacophonous part when you could hear all the hits. It didn't sound like a natural kit to me at all.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I watched someone live through a lung collapse. My brother-in-law Johnny got shot. It was a police officer in Santa Cruz, and his lung collapsed, his left side collapsed.
That's crazy.
Completely. So, and it took him a long time to come back from that. It was not an easy heal. So, so I'm glad you're back making music at least. It's a good thing. Mr. Guy who wrote.
Oh, Mr. Guy who wrote that. I'm like, who are you talking to?
Mr. Leo Maya. No, my brother-in-law does not make music. Is maybe the least musical person
least
I
musical.
know.
Leo Maya.
Leo Maya. All right.
But then again, you know, I was just gonna say, like, not to make the guy feel bad. Like, we only had a small sample size of, and it could have gone.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
We just don't know.
We got through about the first half.
Yeah.
So he was just. I just like the idea of it, like a thought experiment like that. Of like, okay, here's an event, and let's like write music for it, and that makes sense. That it sounds like score music.
Excuse me.
We need a cough button.
Oh, seriously.
Because he was really like scoring an event that happened in his life. So
Yeah.
it read like that. All right. So next.
What's next?
Hyro.
Hyro?
Hiroe.
All right.
And this is an album called Rot. And I think this is going to be completely different.
Okay.
Yeah.
The song is called Black Mountain.
What's the song song?
Well, it's not completely different so far.
Do you have a post-rock folder somewhere?
No.
Okay.
This is where that other song could have gone to, right?
Yeah.
Like all building it up.
Is this one as long?
6 minutes. This guy has a huge pedal board.
Looper pedal? Sounds like it. Could be wrong.
They have 3 guitar players.
3?
Oh, not a looper pedal. Kind of.
No one listed for vocals, so this is going to be instrumental.
It seems like it's going to be the same thing. Like, to really give it a fair thumbs up or down, you're going to have to.
I mean, I really like it so far.
Yeah, I would
This is totally my jam.
I would keep listening for sure. So I'm going to read you a few things that will not surprise you in the slightest.
Okay.
This was recorded by Mario from Spotlights.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
And it was mixed by people involved, by Matt Bales, Caspian, Mono, Russian Circles, Isis, Pelican.
That makes sense.
This is very much in that vein.
Yes.
Like post-rock, post-metal.
Russian Circles uses that.
They do.
Yeah.
They use a whole bunch of Varellans.
I don't know that. I don't know that because I know Russian Circle music. I just was when I picked up that Varellin, I was like, okay, who's playing this? I think they had a video where he was showing.
Yeah, they are. I was just listening to them yesterday because they're on tour. I listened to Helms Ali. And I was like, oh, Helms Ali is on tour with Russian Circles in Europe. I guess I'll listen to Russian Circles next.
Yeah, Varellin.
Yeah. yeah, that's Ben.
Yeah.
So that's his.
Exactly.
They're good buddies. Yeah, I love that kind of shit. That's my music that I work that I work to.
Yep.
That when I need to like be able to think and do numbers shit.
Yeah.
But also want to listen to music at the same time.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Me too.
I could see where that was headed, and that's good stuff for me.
Yeah. I really like it.
Not for me.
I like it. That's not for
I like it a lot.
That's not for Karl.
Not for you.
Not yet. It doesn't mean I couldn't have gone somewhere. But
Yeah.
You just got to put it on while you're working one day.
Yeah.
So that like you get distracted, and then the cool part hits. You go, wait, what the fuck was that? And you rewind it. I would do that all the time.
Yeah.
And then you go back and rewind it.
I mean, I don't mind stuff like that. I think that Pink Floyd did it great. You know.
Yeah.
I just like you said in the I don't know. I just like put something that one thing that would sound like on a looper pedal for me. It's like, all right, go somewhere.
Yeah. And I mean, we write 9-minute songs, but we don't tend to sit on a part for that long.
Yeah.
We don't.
And I'm not comparing us to that, but I like that's kind of what I thought when I said it's like, all right, I get it, you know, like.
But like what you like informs what you write and play.
It's that trance state.
Yeah.
And you don't have to think about it too much.
Like want to keep it simple a lot of times, but like it's not really us, right? Really.
No.
Yeah. That's a side project.
That's a different band.
Yeah.
like that's shit you throw in when you're like doing yoga.
Yeah. Well, it's just like a buddy of mine sent me a song, and it was just him on guitar. Maybe he did it on a 4-track. It was so simple, and just so amazing. Like, and basically had 2 chord progressions and maybe a couple little things here and there, but the way he did it, and I was like, fuck, that's so simple but so powerful. And then I'm like, we should be more simple, but you can't really change. Like,
Troy's gonna be back there with his phone playing kookaburra sounds and shaking a shaker no matter what we do. So, and that would sound weird if it wasn't over our.
I want to hear the post-metal KOOK album.
Yeah. It's that was the first one. And,
yeah, there's no post-metal anywhere in us.
Yeah.
No, I mean that's a side of music that I would love to explore someday, like playing a band that does something like that. But it wouldn't be my first choice of like.
Right, I got to get this out of my system. That could be a side project.
Yeah,
like playing taking the Picasso thing and going simple with, like AC/DC does it. Like just some things are just powerful when they're simpler, but. For me, I've got to do the Rush thing that we're doing a little bit.
I'm deep on record in this podcast as a non-AC/DC fan.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I don't dislike them. It's just
I love AC/DC.
Like when we opened for that AC/DC tribute band.
Speaking about work music, I mean, put that on and go do the gardening.
That's true. Yeah, if you got to put some effort out, but. When we opened for that AC/DC tribute band at the Ritz, I remember being back at the merch table with JD. And we're like, wait, which song is this?
Oh, dude, those guys blew. They took me to another place.
They were great, but it just reminded me how much every song sounds like every other song because we couldn't pull a song title to save our lives. And in the middle of the song,
what song is this?
They're singing the song title in the chorus. It's like, fuck, man, I don't know which song this is.
Yeah.
They were really good, though.
Yeah, and the guy that did Angus was great. And the guy that, the singer looked like...
He looked like Brian Johnson.
Who was this?
What
were they called again?
High Voltage.
High Voltage.
High Voltage.
Fuck, they were good. I mean, like I sat there and the first song, you're kind of like, all right, get past that. And then they kept delivering the goods. And by the time they were in the third song, it's like, I'm fucking watching AC/DC right in front of me.
Yeah.
They're fucking
at the
killing
Ritz.
it.
Yeah. No.
I forgot about it all. It's just like, I was just let go and boom.
That's good. I I was at the merch table, so I was not.
No.
I was not having that.
No. I think Troy was like next to me. I think for most of that, just kind of looking at each other like, "Fuck,
holy shit!"
They were really.
I mean, if you're gonna do a tribute band, that's how to do it.
And we also played with
Max Sabbath.
Max Sabbath.
That was kind of cool too.
Yeah, that was wild. I remember when they were sound checking, it was like, oh no, that guy can't sing very well. And it's not like Ozzy's that hard to sing. But by the time it got to showtime, he pulled it off.
Yeah.
Didn't you guys also do Metalachi?
Oh yeah, Metalachi.
And Metalachi.
The Metalachi?
Yeah, the fucking
That was a good show.
The holy trinity of
We
of
surprisingly worked in that slot too.
Yeah, you totally did.
yeah, it didn't make sense at all, and their crowd liked us a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, when we played in East LA too, they loved us.
Yeah, when I was watching Coachella, there seemed to be a lot of like rock bands in LA that are mostly Latino, and they're kind of like keeping not even classic rock, but like 50s and 60s sounds.
That's totally true.
Alive, and that's why I think like this next record, the songs that we're working on right now, we get in front of those people, and they're just going to be like, "Holy shit!"
Well, I think that's maybe how the Great Electric Quest kind of got their foot in and got that crowd going, because they're like Judas Priest and all that era of that kind of, I could just say that, and all the bands that populate with like they kind of got that, and even the bands was it Way Too Stoned that used to practice, they love that kind of like all the old style rock,
all the way to like classic
Ozzy
heavy metal.
Yeah, exactly.
Way Too Stoned. Please tell me there's a 2 in the middle. A number 2.
Okay. No, it's
it's an I.
Roman numerals.
Oh, shit.
For the symmetry for the logo.
That's like Boys 2 Men.
Yeah.
Those guys are cool guys.
Yeah, they are. I was telling, because we were listening to the Charmer and
new song,
and the one that it was the Charmer, and what comes before it. I should know.
The Whistler, the Lounger,
and
it was nothing up there called the Charmer.
It was the Persuader, and I was like, this is the music that would have actually come out on stage when Marty McFly goes back to the future and Back to the Future, and then gets on stage and plays guitar with that band, because it's like that, it's like Chuck Berry-ish, but then with this like weird fucking modern twist to it.
That song developed off of I was up with my mom in Lake County, and we went. I think I found this old like Elvis songbook in the bookstore, and there was one chord that was in like was it A sharp, weird chord that allowed like some weird dissonant rings to come out, and I just started writing that whole thing in that one song. And it was basically trying to play the Elvis song. That's the whole. You kind of get that vibe.
Oh yeah, completely.
Yeah.
We're back.
That totally comes across.
We're back to it. Yeah. I sent that those two to Buddy, and he was like, "Holy shit, man!"
Yeah.
Like, because that's the stuff, especially on the first record. That's the shit that he loves.
Yeah.
So
we got a little darker on the second one, but this one's gonna be, a little bit of everything.
I think this is the first record when we finally record this that I would like put it on when my family's around.
Oh yeah.
like my mom and my older brother who's a patent attorney and shit like that.
I would put that first song that we listened to. That's what I would put on for my mom.
Yeah.
Like, listen to this is us.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful.
Oh, it's so nice, honey.
Oh, that's funny. Did you bring any? Records or anything?
I didn't
JD?
bring anything.
You didn't bring shit.
Even think about that.
We could look around this room. There's all kinds of shit in here. We can see our junk. God, you could do like a walking tour if we wanted to move.
You could show off all your merch.
Move the camera, but the cable's not that long. Yeah, there's tons of merch back there. Anybody want merch? There's bins. That's all my gear.
Posters on the wall.
Can't see Karl's shit. We should at least turn the camera.
What's
so
a Brittany Coven?
It's a Brimstone Coven.
Oh, Brimstone Coven.
It's a Britney Spears Coven.
Britney Spears Coven
mashup tribute band.
You guys would definitely open for them, since you open for all the mashup weird bands.
I know. Those are fun slots though, because I didn't really think about it before we played with Metalachi, but like people just show up to that.
Yeah.
So like you don't have to promote and there's just going to be a crowd.
That's the secret.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
You got to play in front of other people's fans before you can play in front of yours.
Yep, exactly.
And then you got to convert them.
Yeah.
Exactly. What did you bring?
I brought one thing.
Well.
So I failed in my experiment to find a wah-wah pedal the first time around.
Okay.
I got the Jim Dunlop bass wah, and it was
it's show and tell.
It was a flop.
Yeah.
So I went and returned it, and thought I would try this. You'll appreciate. This is the Jim Dunlop Justin Chancellor of Tool signature wah-wah pedal.
A crybaby?
Is that really that guy's name, Justin Chancellor?
Chancellor.
Yeah. He is the Chancellor.
He's the Chancellor.
So this thing is wild.
Oh, that's cool.
And I'm curious to hear it.
This is
for
like bass only, or
it's a bass pedal, and it is got like multiple wah out like sounds. It's got fuzz and it's got modulation.
Sure.
So like
it's gonna take care of half your board.
Well, this is the kind of thing where like if this worked out right, and it, like we had to go on a low space like a fly-in or something like that, I could just bring this.
I love how
I'm curious.
The grip on the top is like an old school hiking boot.
Yeah,
it's like that weird
like shoes.
Yeah.
So
like shoes.
Owen and I my son have been getting in. Oh, I'm not gonna.
You're all good.
Step all over.
Talk away.
Show and tell. We were talking new gear, but I wanted to let that have its.
This is the time to have gear talk.
It is.
So him and I have been kind of collecting gear. Like I said, with like me and Mitch had the same, and Mitch's son all kind of do the same thing. We kind of circle and gather gear. Well, I guess he went to Santa Cruz yesterday after work to pick up what this guy was selling, a Marshall 212 cab, And so he went there, and then he gets there, and he's all, dude, like there's no speakers inside the cab. It's
just
the box.
And so then the guy had a bunch of other stuff, and then like he had this one amp that was there that was covered with some like almost Raider-esque looking logo on the grill cloth, and like made from a T-shirt that wrapped around like the guy. And then so Owen's like, I don't know what this thing is, but he looks around in the back and he's got like Mercury transformers, and it's like all tube. So basically, it was like a hand wired build from some probably that got a kit but got all the best parts. And so he's like, I don't know what you'd want for this, but I'm kind of like, I've never even heard of this. And then the guy's like, $100, and he's like, okay,
$100.
Yeah. It's probably about $1,000 worth of gear.
Wow.
So, and it's like, so we went and looked it up last night, and it's kind of like one of these, it's a vibro verb, and it's kind of like the Stevie Ray Vaughan. It's like a real coveted, like some people think it's like the best Fender-ish.
Vibro verb.
Yeah.
But like a kit build.
Yeah, kit build.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Like when you buy it, like
That's
when
cool.
you see
new toy,
like when you see a Shelby Cobra on the road, and it's
not
it's not
an actual Shelby Cobra.
It's a kit car.
Yeah.
Except I saw one, and it was actually a real one, and I looked it up, and it looked it up by, I forget how I was able to look up the license plate or something. It was like last sold for $2.5 million, and he was just cruising down Almaden Expressway like it's no big deal in his $2 million Cobra.
That's insane.
How do you even drive that? I'd be fucking terrified.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you
maybe just that has that much money.
Yeah, that's exactly how you drive it, because you have $1 billion.
Right.
You didn't save up for it.
No.
That was just like we were talking about the other day. You just had a pile of money land in your lap, and you're like, sweet.
Oh yeah, like buying houses. Like how can a house sell for double the asking price? Well, it's because people are buying them with funny money.
Yeah.
These aren't people who scrimped and saved to get a down payment. It's someone who looked in their stock, like their stock options, and one day they had 20 million, and then the next day they had 35 million because the stock went up, and they went, okay,
cool.
So what's another $1 million for a house? Who fucking cares?
Who cares?
It's like fake money.
Yep. More music?
They don't
or no? Are we
appreciate
still
that
showing?
much.
Yeah, I don't know. What else can you see? So I love
this. Is a symbol.
No, Eric's got this crazy cymbal stack that he did. The JD can touch right there. You can even give it a little hit. So it's like three symbols of like decreasing size stacked on top of each other flat. And when he hits it, it's in a song that has kind of a train theme, right? It sounds like when the brakes release or when the smokestack on a train blows is exactly in the context. I didn't realize why he did it and what it sounded like. Until I was listening today, and it totally sounds like the release of the smoke or when the brakes that like sound.
So when I was in Seattle with Imperial Space Pod, like I lived on I lived on Magnolia Hill, which was like this. It kind of goes up, and you get to the bottom of it. It crosses the train tracks, and you kind of go through this park that'll just take you all the way to downtown, but every single night there was like train yard in the bottom of this valley. So there was I lived on a hill. There was another hill, like I don't know if it was Queen Anne or something like that, opposite that, and then like this little canal ran through it, and this train yard was there. And so every night, like as I would go to bed, like you'd hear the trains like coming into this train yard.
Oh, the brakes. Ugh.
But it would echo through the valley, like boom, like it was a delay. You know, it was like an echo.
Yeah.
And then they would hit another car, like. And so I was up there in Seattle, like in my mid-20s, going, fuck, this is what Hendrix listened to, and how he gets those sounds. Like on Third Stone from the Sun, like this is what he was hearing. You know,
It was the trains.
And I've always just every night it was so beautiful, really beautiful. I mean, it was unbelievable, and I'm stoked that now we're playing a song that has that train sound in it, because it does. It really, and the way we do it. I mean, I can't wait for other people to hear it and give their opinion, but it really does sound like a train's coming.
It's wild too, and watching Eric tweak the drum parts, because he's largely responsible for like making it sound trainy, the beats in a couple parts, and it's been interesting to hear how he changes what he's playing, and it gets tighter and tighter, and it sounds more like an actual train each time he makes one little tweak to it. It's really cool. And we grew up here, right? It's flat, nothing echoes. There's no valley. There's no valley small enough to actually hear a fucking echo off of a noise. So Seattle's just all hills and valleys.
Right.
And shit.
No, it was magical sounding. Unbelievable.
I believe it. That's rad.
And then the other thing, that little part, I mean, speaking of unbelievable sounds, I used to ride my bike from down that hill and go into the Art Institute of Seattle to study audio engineering. And when I was up there, and there was one day, it was kind of a cloudy, windy day, and there was, those little, it was like on the Sound, and there was all these little like branches out that go out into the water. I don't know what they're called, like barrier things that they put up.
Oh yeah.
There was a guy. It was like a swirling, like really ominous
something.
day, and there was this guy out there with bagpipes, right?
Whoa!
Oh, wow.
And he knew that was the time to play, because of the way the wind was swirling. It got carried in with the wind and just swirled all around. So as I'm riding by this guy, it was like eerie sounding.
Yeah,
that's one of those instruments that every time I hear it, like when it's played well, it just gives me the chills.
Yeah,
almost brings like a tear. I love the bagpipes.
Well, and where we just heard it, that it's fucking incredible, is in the Dune soundtrack.
Oh yeah.
What was the
Dune score? So
was that with the Sadakar or?
No.
That was the Ohms,
when they all roll in, there's like a troop of bagpipe players.
Yeah, that's crazy.
When they get out of the ship, and then I think it's throughout the score he uses them, but they're actually diegetic. They're like in the movie, in that part, but then they're just in part of the score. No, the Sardaukar was like that
was the Ohms, the throat.
That was the throat singer. Like
that's right, the throat singer.
That was great.
And there was a lady who did that howl. That she has this incredible like percussive singing. She does all this crazy stuff, and she's throughout doing all different kinds of crazy noises. There's a video on YouTube if you're curious. I loved that movie, and I can't wait for the second one.
I grew up when I was a kid, dude. Like I read Dune twice. I was so obsessed with that book, and then the movie came out, and that and Crossroads. Remember that movie Crossroads with the battle?
Yeah.
Same era, basically.
Ralph Macchio and Steve Vai.
Made very big impressions.
Young Karl. Yeah, I remember. Remember when the second Bill and Ted's came out, and there was a battle of the bands, and Primus and Faith No More were both like in the movie. I remember going to. I'm gonna see that shit in the theater. These are my heroes, and they're in like a major studio playing music.
I think my mom was pregnant when I was 15, and that was and then I was reading those books, and like Paul Atreides. I pretty much convinced my mom to name my brother Paul because of Paul Atreides.
Oh wow!
Really?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that is some commitment.
Yeah. It's just like the sneaky things that kids do.
Yeah. And the last time we were in Oregon, we drove from Eugene to Florence, which is a town on the Oregon coast where Hurt got the idea to write Dune, because he was writing a magazine article. It was an ecological story. They ripped up some native plants in doing some development, and then it caused like havoc, and sand was blowing in and like covering the town because of what they did along the shoreline. And so he originally went to write an article about how this happened, and then it turned into just a meditation place that's just made of like the devastation that sand can bring in a place that's just made of sand and terrible.
Yeah, that's just the book are just so like takes you to. I've always tried to convince my kids to read it too because it just takes you someplace else. I mean, I think I read most of them. You know, I always kind of wanted Paul to come back, but
no spoilers.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, if you're,
Well, and I cracked up because everybody's like, "Oh, this story again, isn't this just Harry Potter and Star Wars?" And you're like, "No, it was Dune.
No,
it was Dune first.
It was Dune first.
Yeah, before Star Wars for sure.
Yeah,
you can totally tell that, like with the Tatooine and all that.
Lucas isn't even shy about it.
Yeah,
I mean, not even slightly. Like and in the Book of Boba Fett, they like literally like called out specific references. Even I felt like
but the feasibility of like the amount of audience was willing to take and a movie company was willing to put in to make Dune even feasibly like make sense as it does as a whole as a book. Like you had to put it in like kind of a Star Wars thing, like you know, where it's like boom, boom, boom storyline. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead of like this long building thing to where you're about a tenth of the way, and all of a sudden you start seeing this world open up and like get crazy, and how detailed it is. And
welcome to Dunecast. This is the first episode.
Carl and I will talk Star Wars and Dune and until the cows come home.
Yeah,
I didn't know the cows had left.
They left. Yeah, one of JD's a band that JD loves is called Sandrider, and every single song is about a Dune thing.
Oh yeah,
all the songs are just Dune. And then there's a band that we like called Dune. And all their
with
songs,
a V.
and all their songs are about Dune shit too.
Yep.
So
I liked the way that they did the Dune logo on the movie, where it's just a different version of C.
Yeah.
Oh
You know
yeah.
what I mean, that was really cool. And that's kind of what we do with this logo, right? It's like I love that kind of stuff where letters actually do other things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
where they're just shapes, and when you have symmetry, you can do weird stuff with it. Someday we'll do what we always.
That's pretty clever, I thought. The Dune.
We'll do what we always talked about. What are you looking at?
The
You're
lights
confused.
just came on. And now they're flickering.
They kind of flicker.
Yeah.
Troy and I had a thing where we would hit up the spirit. What are those things called? Spirit
Halloween.
Yeah, at the end, kind of like get stuff to
like
spooky
after
spook
Halloween.
it up.
I guess that's a good idea for decorating your studio.
Yep.
Getting stage props.
Yeah, go to Spirit once
Go to
Halloween's
Spirit.
over.
Posters.
Yeah, we have a lot of posters in here.
Sweet.
Carl reorganized everything during the.
One time.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, a few times. I came in once. It was all clean. It was like, dang, you could eat off this floor almost.
Yeah, and then I did the door because it looked like it was pretty. Never mind. I'm not going to go there.
I think we have more music to listen to.
Oh yeah, we do. But if you're wondering, if you're watching this on YouTube, it is a big room. Like, do you know the dimensions of this room? We're lucky. Has a tall ass ceiling, and it's like 25 by.
I was going to say it's probably like
20.
25 by
30 by 20. It's a big room.
Yep. And I used to be in here when it was twice that size. It was one big thing. This room basically went into the where the bathroom door goes. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was big. All right. Yes, we do have other music. I was going to say, one thing I do have.
It's an Imperial Space Pod.
Imperial Space Pod. But these are the mixes that that Chris did.
Oh, hey. I just was talking to Ollie, the drummer.
Yeah.
And I didn't get he never got those, and I was trying to dig them up. Is there any chance that like you could
I'll
get
send
on
you
a group text with
I'll send you the link. So so Imperial Space Pod tracked a record with Jack Endino.
Yeah. In Seattle.
Somewhere there exists a Jack Endino mix of that record.
Oh, I have that.
Oh, you have it?
I don't have Chris. I gave Chris. I'll make a short story long. I had the 24-track reel-to-reel that Jack Endino did, and about like somewhere in my mid to late 30s, I decided to get it burned to DVDs, just because the tape looked old when we used it. You know what I mean? And so I got it on DVDs, and I had that, and they buzzed down a quick mix that a few people have, and then I gave it. Then I trusted Chris so much, I burned those DVDs and gave him a whole set, and then he remixed it. So. That'd be cool because Ollie was just asking about me getting him some music, and I just couldn't.
You want to listen to some?
No, I hate that. You know,
It would be weird.
Well, I mean, I don't mind you guys so much. Like, I would sit down and listen to it with you guys. 'Cause I trust you guys, but I really don't like going to somebody and going, "Hey, dude, check out this song that we just did it."
Yeah.
Because it's like then you're like sitting there looking at them and waiting for their
Yeah,
expression.
the
If they're not paying
expression.
attention, then your feelings are hurt.
Yeah,
and it's like,
exactly.
Oh, what I love are the bits of it that have ended up in our songs, because there's a couple.
True.
Yeah.
That's true. That's a good point. Well, why don't you can play that little bit.
Which song? Is that
Moonbase
is
starts off with the same guitar riff as
Human Container?
as Human Container.
Is that the first one?
I
I think it is.
it's this.
Or is it the
Yeah, I
second?
think it's the first one.
Okay. So if
And
you-
then actually, there's a part, and then the next song, the beginning of the next song, is off of.
the first record.
There's a first record song that we did.
That one song.
That's Imperial Space Pod. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. But also KOOK.
All right, that's good.
It's good. But it's fun the way it like kind of slows down.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
that
down. Yeah, you
version
wanna
of-
play that part,
Yeah,
that's fine, go
it
ahead.
gets there pretty fast.
Yeah, I do like that riff that comes in after.
That's cool.
Oh.
Yeah, it doesn't, because in your song it goes.
It stays the same. Yeah, that one definitely was a.
Yeah.
But it kind of goes slow there, but it kind of, I don't know. It's good stuff.
It's really good, and I listen to it a lot, honestly.
Yeah.
And
Oh, good. Wow.
I think of it as like a heavier version of what's the band from San Diego? Isaiah Earthless.
Yep.
Earthless?
Yeah.
It's like
really similar.
and it's before Earthless even existed.
Yeah.
But it's very similar, and I always just
I
trip.
talked.
Was
to
there
that
a
guy when
singer
we
or
played
was
with
it
him.
instrumental?
They do a lot
Mitch-
of instrumental, but he
No,
started
Mitch
mixing.
Mitch sang.
Mitch sang?
Yeah,
Oh,
but it
okay.
was I think our
It's pretty
actually
sparse.
we looked for a singer up there. We never really found a guy that, and so we had this thing where we thought singers sang too much.
Yeah.
But we did want to have a little bit of vocals, so there was in our songs there would be like
Yeah.
a few vocals here and there.
Nice.
Yeah.
And who played drums?
This guy Ollie
Ollie.
Ollie
Okay.
Klomp, who right before he played with us, he was in Grunt Truck,
Oh, okay.
and
Yeah.
I don't think he ever was on a recording, but he was.
He was
And he's
just playing
like good
with
friends
them.
with the drummer from Tad at that time,
Okay.
in the '90s, and but he was good for us. He was more of a jazz guy, which is kind of good for us.
Yeah,
you know?
totally.
And then, but in the beginning, we had in San Jose, we played with Eric Cliver from Dear Deceased. It was a first round of Imperial Space Pod. I actually do have that on DAT, and he was the singer from Dear Deceased, and that was with a drummer called Dennis Morehouse, who was in like probably the bands that were kind of like that you like Fungo Mungo type
Oh,
bands.
yeah. His name rings a bell, a
Yeah.
little bit of a bell.
Yeah.
And wasn't when you guys were in the rehearsal studio in Seattle? Wasn't Zeke also like? Because we had Mark.
Yeah, we had Olympic Foundry Studios was kind of like by Rainier Brewery, and we had a studio in there, and it was like right next to us was Zeke, and like I would go to school early in the morning and come back, and my nap time sleep was listening to Running Up the Main. It just like it was crazy. I loved them though. I learned to like totally like know all their songs and really like those.
That's awesome.
Yeah. He was a great guest. He was a super interesting dude.
I met him again later on, like about 10 years ago, opening up for a friend of ours band in San Francisco, and I said, hey, I used to I was in this band and I used to like practice. He was super, super nice, but when I met him when we were younger in Imperial Space Pod, he was pretty bad off with the
Oh,
dope.
yeah.
And,
He was a
and-
mess.
And it was like, dude, really? You're that?
Yeah.
What's up with the attitude?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. And he totally cleaned up and like got in like regular job,
Yeah.
like and had a family and like did Zeke part time.
Right.
But they still they have enough of a fan base that if they want to go on a tour for a couple weeks or
Yeah.
want to put out a record, a major label will put it out. And we
Totally.
saw them actually at the Ritz couple, maybe a year before the pandemic. I forget exactly when it was, but yeah, they were good.
Yeah, and when I saw him later on, he was super like, oh, that's really cool, man. Like just
Yeah.
I don't remember you because I was out of it, but
treating this fan like a
that's awesome.
And was Jeff still playing with them? Was Jeff in Seattle? Was he or
let's see.
had he come down? No, because he didn't join Higher and Fire until like 2004 or 2003.
Yeah.
So then he would have been in the band.
Would have been in
the last time I saw him.
Yeah.
The bass player when I was younger was this guy Dizzy, and then he was like one of those like punk rock didn't. I mean, he didn't go to punk rock. Punk rock came to him. Yeah. He was just completely crazy. And he there was a club called the Off Ramp, and one night I always remember him. And every time somebody says that they're dizzy, I think of this guy. But he had glasses like you're wearing right now, and he like duct taped his whole head just so his mouth was open. And then he walked around, and then he'd walk around the club, and he'd go up to you, and he'd go, "It's really me, Dizzy. It's really me, Dizzy." And like that's all he said all night long. Like just it's really me, Dizzy.
I mean, these are the people that you meet when you fucking hang out in nightclubs.
Yeah, exactly.
Rock clubs. I mean, I'm sure you meet a different kind of people in different clubs, but rock clubs are always full of colorful characters.
Yep.
Okay, who do you think is Mucho comes to mind when I said who's a colorful character, because he is, but like who else do you think would be?
Who have we run
That's
into?
just like this guy. Like
I mean, definitely Mucho lives the Mucho life 24/7. When we crashed at his house, I mean, Mucho's the drummer for Great Electric West and also like 6 other bands, living alive, and he's just a fucking hustler and a great drummer. And what's his fucking get some? Like that's his motto. So if he ever posts anything online, it's at the end it says get some. And we crash in his house, and written in pen, I think on his
bathroom wall.
On his bathroom wall.
He has a list of things that he's to do.
Like affirmations.
Daily affirmations.
It's like be your best, fucking practice hard, and then at the end it just said get some.
Get some.
I think I have a photo of that somewhere.
That's awesome.
That was.
It was like, fuck, man, this guy is just
I mean, like the singer's up there and like and like Mucho's back there and acting like the animal from the Muppets, and then he's like, "Are you ready, Mucho?" before a show, and then he's like screaming and pounding his chest. And like, we're gonna let this guy go on you guys right now,
Yeah, get ready.
Yeah. Well, who else is like? There's got to be somebody that just pops off the page.
Well, absolutely from Wee Dieter.
Wee Dieter?
Wee Dieter.
Oh, that Assassins dude kind of got me going to the way he did that show.
Oh, the old-fashioned Assassins? Yeah. But what's his name from Wee Dieter?
The main guy?
Yeah.
I can see
everybody's screaming at the radio right now.
His
going,
name.
"You dipshits!"
Yeah. He was wild, and he was like when I met him, he's like fucking
Dixie.
He's exactly what you think he's gonna be when you meet him. Like watched him pound a fifth of Jack, like before and during their set at Psycho, and that was at like 4:00 in the afternoon, and he was at the Circle Bar at the Hard Rock at 1 a.m. wide awake, telling fucking stories about fishing and.
That's crazy. Yeah. There's always those people like that are part of the scene that maybe aren't in the bands, but they come to every show.
Yeah,
they're just the weirdos too.
Yeah. Well, Sweets. Justin's not a weirdo, but Sweets like you show up to a show, fucking Justin Rogers is there, and he's there.
This is true.
Like, Sweets. He's a good guy. He listens to every episode. So
yeah, that old fashioned assassin. There was hardly anybody at the show, but. Like they kind of started off like the show like they were kind of not very good or something.
Yeah,
they're kind of just like maybe trying to struggle and make it through the first song.
Yeah,
right. And then the guitar player was like kind of acting a little bit frustrated and kind of looking around at his things. And then he kind of gets this like fuck it look, and he takes this like tall boy and like pours it down his head on his head.
5 people in the room,
right? 5 people, just us and a couple other stragglers in the way, and then they just start kicking ass like right from there. It's pretty cool.
Because that was so we played in Phoenix with them at a little place that's like their regular haunt, and there were people there. Yeah. But this was the show in Tucson,
right?
Like on a weeknight in Tucson at this kind of weird club that was sort of like the Rock
I think
Bar.
The Iron Maidens played the night before, or the weekend before, so like everybody was tapped out on that club.
And the guy who owns the club is like some you don't know his name, but like legendary 80s guitar shredder dude, like was in a band. Buddy knows him. I forget how we got hooked up with him, but it ended up being a super fun show because those guys were so great. And then watching Derek pour that beer on his head to absolutely no one,
To no one.
and then go fucking ape shit was just like
it was kind of flattering. It was like
awesome.
we're doing this for you guys right now.
Yeah, it was a fun. I mean, those nights can be really fun, and you have them on.
Yeah,
you know, we don't. Yeah. For the most part, nobody knows who the fuck we are. So when we're on tour, you're just at the mercy of whatever locals you get hooked up with, and what night of the week it is, and if the venue has any natural draw or whatever. So it was still fun to play. I'm glad we did.
Yeah, I mean, even if it takes a bit to play on a Wednesday night, it's kind of good to playing with you guys every night.
Yeah,
it's
just
like
stay
the
home.
best part of it, because by the time Saturday comes around and you started on Wednesday,
You're hot. You're warm.
You're dialed in as a band, and that's like a great feeling, you know. Like,
yeah.
And Saturday, you're at the bar in East LA that like you can't even walk in because it's so packed, and that's the show that you want.
That's awesome.
That's the show you want to be. Well, I still keep in touch with one of the people that was at that show in Tucson. Just completely random.
A lot of Troy's old band members were there, like from different bands.
Oh, that was in Phoenix.
Oh, that was in Phoenix.
Yeah, that was at the Palo Verde Lounge when Lucas came.
Oh yeah,
Lazer Beam played too. Yeah, that was a fun night. We were supposed to record a podcast episode with the guy who does a podcast in Phoenix, the Doom Tomb.
Oh yeah.
And we just talked, and then he just never got his shit out, and we never did it. I'll have to make that one up someday.
Exactly.
All right.
Back to the music.
We'll listen to a couple more songs.
Do it.
And
Couple more songs.
We'll call it. But that was Imperial Space Pod. Maybe someday that'll come out. If there's
Buddy.
But Buddy's down. If there's a mix, we just need to figure out what mix you like. And
well, I wouldn't mind giving Chris another crack at it. I did prefer the original quick mix down that Mr. Toads did in San Francisco than the one that Chris did last time, but only because I was probably so used to that mix.
Yeah. I can see that.
And it's got almost the same thing as KOOK with the two guitars going. So some things have to get. Yeah.
Well, and I'd be curious. Like, so you had the tapes? Does that mean Jack doesn't have them anymore?
Jack Endino?
Yeah.
No, I have the 24 track reel. It's in my basement right now.
Because we could reach out to Jack too.
For us.
Yeah, for us for sure. But I mean,
I wouldn't mind doing a record with him next.
Yeah, anyone I know who's worked with him recently had a good time. Yeah. He worked him hard, but
right when I got that, I tried to hit. I ended up talking to him, and because he recorded us for free up there.
Oh shit!
And basically, I called him in my 30s, and I was like, we got this thing. I'm going to send you the mix down of the thing, because he went and to record Bruce Dickinson like the next day after he did it for free, and he was also helping this one studio that just opened up start out. So he's kind of giving them a hard time, like, where's this? You guys need to get your shit together, kind of thing. At the same time, like, helping us out. And I don't know where I was going with that.
You contacted him to maybe have him do something to it?
Oh, yeah. And then he's all, but I don't work for free, right? Because it was kind of before.
Not anymore.
Yeah. This is, if you're trying to get like me to do it because you're so great.
Yeah, I kind of have a name now, people, but I know he's not crazy. I mean, You're the Cobra recorded their last record with him, and
he's always on like little things that pop up.
Yeah,
like the latest one I saw was that Iggy Pop came up to him. He was telling a story about he came up to him, and like that's the godfather of punk or whatever, and he's like. And Jack had to go like, I did the first Nirvana album, and then he's like, I produced Nirvana, and then Iggy was like, I hope it was the good one, and then he's all bleached, and he's like, and then Iggy was giving him a hug, and then he said he was walking away from that, going, did that just happen to be like my idol?
Wow, that'd be crazy. That's funny that Iggy Pop thinks there's a good Nirvana album.
He was it was a character. He's like, first thing he did is like stick his head all in the drum and tell Ollie to start hitting. Just weird things that people do.
Yeah,
I liked working with Billy though, because you know what, Billy works really fast, and we were ready to work fast. We were ready to like lay it down and like not kind of like write the song in the studio. So it worked out good for us. Bang, 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 and then we're
nice. Well, yeah, and we'd finish a take because we did full live takes, even though we were isolated. And by the time you got back in the room, Billy had like a mix comp together with effects and shit. Like you could hear it immediately, and not just the raw recording, but with some real quick work.
Yeah, the way he does that, like you do something and then he'd already have all the markers, like he kind of fucked up there, and then have it ready to fix. So and then he's on to the next thing, and maybe even corrected something before.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, time corrected and stuff.
I watched him.
Yeah.
I watched him just quietly fix all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Especially in Left Behind, because the best live take was for guitar, but wasn't Eric's best take. And so, but we fought to keep, because your guitar just did fucking wild stuff that was non-reproducible, the honks and moans, it was just like a really cool take. And Eric's like, that wasn't my favorite drum take. And we listened, we like A-beat him, and we're like, Billy's like, I'll fix the drums. Don't worry.
Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's what happened.
That was fun. I want to do that again.
I know. This is like nostalgia. All right, so 2 more. Let's see what else.
Take 4.
What else we got here? The Ruby Armada. Oh, they got tubes on their album cover, so
Is that a good sign?
Probably.
All right.
The band is called Red Cloud. The album is Ruby Armada Volume 1.
God, I almost want to say that was in my feed recently.
Really?
For my YouTube thing.
Let's see. They like tubes.
They like riffs.
We got a riff. Get change after 4.
I'm glad they kind of settled down on the riff at that point. I like it so far.
Yeah.
Pretty bass. I like it. They're keeping it simple.
It's cool.
It's meaty.
Interested to hear what the vocals sound like.
Yeah, that's the make or break moment.
Yeah, exactly. For every...
It's good. It doesn't break any new ground. I mean,
to that point,
every inch of that so far has been done before.
Yeah.
So then it's about tone and performance and
same thing. It's a small slice. I think I would have. I liked how they kind of had the intro and they went into the good riff and then they brought it down and kept it simple. But at that point at the end, now that's the critical moment.
Where you gonna go?
Where are you gonna go right now?
Carl always wants to know where you're gonna go.
Well,
they could win you over with the right chord at one point.
Yep.
And
the singer didn't make me go stop.
Yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
I didn't. Yeah, it wasn't an instant. I didn't hear enough sample to go. Yeah, I like that guy.
Yeah.
Well, we can listen. We'll turn it back on and listen to it a little bit more. It was
more like a psychedelic style vocal rather than it could have been that, or it could have been a yeah. I'm glad it wasn't a
Yeah, I might even lean into that a little bit more because the vocal production was pretty dry, but I could stand for that to be kind of spaced out a bit more.
Yeah, even spaced out more.
A little weirder, and not the effects, not the vocal itself.
Now, let me just see if it keeps going. I couldn't tell lyrically whether it was.
It's cool. Let's see where it goes, Carl.
My brain is immediately like, okay, 4 of the one, and then 4 of the drop down one, and then 4 with the singing.
Stop counting. Just listen.
No, but it's like, it's not even that I count. It's that I know that after 4, it's going to go to the next thing. And then after 4, and my brain immediately starts to drift. I want it to surprise me a little bit.
I think I'm probably in that boat, but not
clearly.
Yeah. Just all
right.
Let's hear a little bit more.
Tones are great though. And that's a drum set.
Is that a phaser? It's a little Bon Jovi.
That's cool.
Bon Jovi point right there. Bon Jovi mixed with Stoner.
Stoner Jovi.
Stoned Bon Jovi.
Stone Jovi.
I don't mean that in an offensive way. It's just kind of.
There you go, JD. Teaching JD how to count music.
It's a.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like the vocals are also sort of like 90s.
yeah,
Like very grungy.
yeah. That's where you would
Kind of like Monster Magnetes.
Yeah, which is not a band that I ever listened to because it's like, for my brain, it's too predictable. Like they're just gonna do a full repeat of the main riff, the drop down riff, the vocal, that like pre-chorus, chorus, and then they just did it. They're just starting a whole second round of that, and I was just kind of like, oh, I just heard that.
Yeah. Well, it's just it really has come down to. I mean, that was definitely a music that was not the heavy riff laden thing. That was definitely something that like Imperial Space Pod and stuff and Sleep and all those things. We're trying to go. Hey, look at don't forget about this style.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and let's keep it going. And now everybody remembered that style.
Right.
And so now then it's just become like another genre where there's a ton of blues bands and a ton of blues music.
Right.
It's just now you got to go to the good ones.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and here's one of my failings as a listener is I've never been a lyrics or story person, so I don't even know what he's like. So some people would be listening because they're like they're hearing the lyrics
same
and
way,
getting
right.
into
Exactly.
the story, and I'm just like, I don't even know I don't know one word he said.
Yeah, I mean, I've listened to a song like 30 years later after hearing it for the gazillionth time and gone, oh, is that what he's saying?
Is that what he's singing
Oh,
about?
that's pretty cool. I like it now.
Yeah. Yeah, which is why I've never been like a singer-songwriter or like an indie because it's just all about the story and like wordplay and
I that's even probably why I don't like to sing. It's just like, really, like I got something that I want to shout to you over a PA. No, not really. I don't really have anything to say to you.
Yeah.
that's what your guitar's for.
I just shout with my guitar.
Listen,
Yeah.
whatever. But some people, like Troy, just like you could tell he's a singer just by talking to him because
He's got a lot to say.
he's got a lot to say.
A lot to say.
So do you think there'll be a guitar solo? This is a game we played with Buddy for the first
Oh,
time.
totally.
I don't know.
I think there will be. So we did this, and then I had Buddy call the time that the solo would start, and he nailed it within a second. So this song is 5 minutes and 7 seconds long. I'm going to say the guitar solo is about right there.
Pee-pee break.
What time are we at now?
We're about halfway through. I'm going to go with 3:41.
All right. So how much earlier did it start?
I don't know.
That was a good call.
Like all these bands, they would have been the bands that I would have gone and seen when I was a kid. Like I'd be like, oh, okay, like those are I'll go support
cool.
those.
I'll go.
dudes.
Yeah, I'll go
like,
see those
Like if
guys.
they were like a local band that kind of had that heavy
Oh,
sound.
100%.
Like, okay.
Yep.
All right. Did you say you need to take a pee break?
Could I?
Yeah, go for it. Well, because what I'm going to do,
vamp.
what we're going to do while you're pee breaking is I'm going to walk the studio a little bit.
Oh, yeah?
Give a little camera tour.
Oh shit! I gotta
Take your headphones off.
gas.
At least as far as that cable will stretch.
Yeah, I can just move the camera around. I'm gonna get my mic off of here though. Sorry for the weird noises it's making.
Why do you need to get your mic off?
Because I want to walk and talk.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow,
you
you're
know.
getting fancy.
Gonna do a little walk and talk.
Okay.
Just from watching Jordan on 2 Minutes to Late Night, always walking around with his mic, holding it. Hey everybody, I'm right here.
Something's gonna come unplugged.
Um,
Just watch this.
all right. You think? Yeah, probably. Seems like a high probability.
Why don't you stand back and I'll be the camera operator?
Oh yeah. There you go.
There we go.
I'll narrate.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah, you mind those cables?
Okay. There we go.
So all right, here's the full space. Ooh, it's so exciting. Looks like probably every other studio. You can flip it around and get a shot of the guitar section so everybody can see Karl's. Well, now you're in the way.
Oh.
Here. So we have these. So Mucho, who just came up, if you're in a band, has a company called Mucho Printing. So if you look at Eric's drum head, custom made by Mucho, Doesn't even require you to remove your drum head. You can just wrap that around your existing head. Little plug for Mucho printing. And then you flip towards Karl's gear here. You can see lights a little bit bright on it. There you go. That is a custom mesh front that Mucho printed that Karl installed. And I have one on my Mesa cab over there. Yeah, all the flags. So if you want like merch flags printed, all the like fabric flags that we have, those are all printed by Mucho, and they're like crazy reasonable, and they're awesome to tour with because they don't wrinkle. You can just like stuff them in a box, and they stay in really good condition. This is the PA right here. Everybody who's not watching this is probably bored out of their fucking skulls. And yeah, and then we just got posters and fucking shit everywhere. And Eric's kit is small right now. He actually had his full kit set up for a while with 7 toms, maybe 8.
It was just too big.
No, he plays in other bands sometimes, so he keeps part of it separate so that he can pull a kit and play without having to break down this one. That's why the 2 kick drums aren't set up. And we saw
that business.
We saw Karl's Varellen, the Laux, and what do you got, a JCM 800 next to it over there?
Yes. This is a new
Laux?
This is Michael Shenker's.
That's the Shenker amp.
This thing's pretty nice, man.
What guitar do you have here? You have the silver one?
Silver Burst I was talking about earlier.
Yeah, you can show off your silver burst if you want.
There you go.
Studio.
There you go.
Why leave it in the studio?
A Les Paul Studio. You can see on the wall over there my main #1 black Fender Jazz with
This
the
was gifted to me about, where am I showing it?
camera's right there.
Camera's over here. Yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah.
Oh, look at that.
That is a hell of a gift.
That's a guitar.
Guitar for sure. Yeah. I like it.
Is it all stock? Or did you fuck around?
To be honest,
Don't even know.
no, I bought. I kind of wanted nickel covers on because they had chrome covers, and I just thought that the nickel would have a little bit better look, and so I bought these off Craigslist for a pretty good deal. And then this was chrome, and these were nickel, so I had to like go, oh, okay, now I need to order a nickel bridge and thing, and it's kind of dialed into where I want it now. And then this one came stock with a push-pull thing, but it was in the volume knob switch area, and I don't like that. Yeah. So I took it all out and just went straight. No flipping it to a single coil.
Sweet.
Other than that, it's I have all the stock parts.
Wonderful.
Very nice. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
We will not tell you the location of our studio. We have all this lovely gear in here. Leave it alone. All right. We got one more.
You got one more song.
Last song, and then we'll let you out of here.
This is going to do it.
This looks interesting.
It really is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Do what you need to do, Karl. Karl's off to the side.
It has been done before.
Park in a bowl.
Who was the first? I think it was
Trevor. No, it was Heavy Temple.
It was yeah. The many names that she goes by.
Yes. She's currently Clit Burton.
She's currently Clit Burton,
which is maybe my favorite of her pseudonyms. All right. So last, hopefully not least, we have Torrance is the name of the band. Dual Fates is the name of the album, and Betrayer is the song.
Ooh.
So you guys just get these randomly sent, or people send them just for your review?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes the bands send them directly. Sometimes the promotional companies will send them, their PR agencies. And
Do you guys ever kind of like stumble across something that you just got to share with the world? Or?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All the yeah. I mean, we've come across incredible music. We buy their records. People who listen to the podcast buying records from people.
Yeah.
It's
I know one thing about you that's different than you digest a lot of music. Like I don't.
Yeah. Well, so I'm a cynical asshole as a general rule. So for work, we had to do one of those like personality how do you work profile kind of things where they like this one was like a strengths finder assessment. What are your strengths?
Oh yeah, I've done those tests.
Okay,
before.
so
Yeah.
my #1 strength is something called input, which means what I like to do is gather information. I like to consume a lot of stuff, and that's everything. Like for work, it's work shit, but it's listening to music, it's reading books, it's listening to podcasts and learning about shit. I'm just constantly inputting information.
Plus, you're a doer too, though. You're not just like you do stuff. Some people who are like me, like not
just input.
Right.
There's no output.
There's no you don't do anything with that input.
All right, so I'm curious what this is going to be. The album covers like almost kind of looks like, I don't know, like a Dia de los Muertos art. It's like two skulls and some flowers.
I don't know why the name sounds familiar.
It's like a rainbowy.
Let's listen to it.
All right.
Okay.
I like it so far.
Yeah. I like it.
It's different. So what?
That was interesting. There was a lot going on there.
It's different.
It was cool.
What? I mean, are we hearing like MP3 level quality?
This is streaming from Bandcamp, whatever they use for streaming. But yeah, probably. Yeah. I don't think they're doing high def streaming. So that reminds me, we've gotten a ton of submissions that are kind of like late '90s post grunge noise, like weird noise rock, like Unsane or. There's a bunch, and like what that band Disastroid sounds like.
Now that I'd have to say is probably one of the only bands that we've played with that I really just enjoy. Like, really,
Disastroid.
Yeah,
they're amazing.
I really do like that. I like what's his name? Enver. Yeah. I mean, he is in my opinion a super super talented guy. Like he's singing. I mean, and just his guitar playing and his choice of notes and stuff. Oh,
yeah,
he's good.
So we've run into like I don't know, maybe close to 10 bands over the last 2 years that are real similar to that are all like reaching back into an old style.
Interesting that you brought up that, because the first note that came out of there, I heard an Enver chord.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and then it went someplace.
It went somewhere different. But I was like, okay, I see what they're playing.
But that's weird that I did notice that. Right?
Yeah. Like
was there like a constant solo?
A little bit. There was
like
a lot
in the
of
background.
soloing.
There was a.
Well, and that's what made me think about what is the quality, what are the level? Because like the guitar tones in none of these recordings have been that spectacular, but I think it's just because of the recording quality.
Yeah, it's just the stream,
right?
Yeah.
And I heard that guitar in the background. I was like, is that supposed to be?
Yeah, there wasn't like a riff going on.
It was just like a high melodic, repeating melodic part.
Yeah, it was cool.
Just like it running in the background.
Where are these guys from?
They are from. I like the harmony vocals. I didn't love the vocals when it just switched to the single singer, but when they came out of the gate with those high harmonies, and
that was cool.
I was like, all right, I'm doing some shit here. They are from Morgantown, West Virginia.
West Virginia.
Is
there going to be a?
I think
it just hit me. Like, I wonder if there's going to be a good cop, bad cop on this.
No, I don't think
so.
I don't think so.
No?
I don't think there's going to be a bad cop.
Okay.
The good cop, bad cop we discovered when we went to this festival is like you got the guy who sings the high pretty parts.
And then
the
high pretty parts.
Spare me, please.
Yeah, and then you got the guy that's growling.
Yeah, and then they go to the what is that? Yeah. That's just what I think of that.
There are contexts where I don't hate it, like Chemist.
Yeah.
But usually the singers that are singing the melodic parts are singing lower.
Yeah.
It's that high, that like super high pitch.
Yeah. I think the Clutch guy does that where it's
palatable
for
Neil
me.
Fallon?
He's still just talking.
Yeah.
No, I mean, we've listened to, we didn't get any submissions this time, but we've listened to some fucking pretty extreme vocal shit that you would probably immediately be like,
there was some black metal, though, that I actually really enjoy.
Yeah?
Yeah, really. There's this one, Death Slaughter, Death Cult, something, but this girl singing, and it she just looks like a demon, like and she's got like white face with blood coming down, and I think it's called The Dead Hate the Living. The Dead Hate the Living. It's like, fuck.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll play you. This is a band that submitted music to us that we absolutely fucking loved, and then you'll hear it immediately.
Oh, is this the last band that we?
No, this is a new band. I just wanted you to hear this.
Okay. A little Tool-ish. Tool.
To me, they sound like Disasteroid.
Oh yeah, a little bit.
It is funny. This could be on a Disasteroid album, and I wouldn't think otherwise.
Especially when he opens up the vocals.
Yeah.
Yeah, Disasteroid reminds me a little bit of Helmet. Remember that band Helmet?
Yeah.
They have a Helmet-esque thing into them. But yeah.
Listen. When I first heard that, I was like, Enver, did you sing on a different record? It was crazy.
Wow.
It's good stuff.
Good stuff.
Is there something I could like show you guys?
Oh hell yeah!
Second?
So that's usually our last question is what are you listening to, or what do you think these people should be listening to?
So I don't even nobody's going to be able to hear unless they go to the YouTube page. But I asked a buddy of mine to send me a couple songs that he's writing. Him on acoustic guitar. I think I mentioned it earlier.
Yeah.
Actually, it's a quick Ramones size song.
Here,
totally.
We could do it from there.
Just search on there.
Or I could do it off of my phone, but I think it's YouTube.
Searching YouTube. Do.
Let's see if this will do it. I know it might take a. Oh, here it is. Oh, yeah, this is it. It's just a cheap recording, but. This guy was the singer in Vultures Away with Stoner Steve.
Oh, okay.
And he used to be in a band in San Jose called Bodies in the Basement. Fucking killer band. Kind of a little bit like Velvet Underground.
Yeah. Did he just like record on his phone?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Get that man an interface. I want to hear
Seriously.
his voice.
He's good.
That's an acoustic, you said?
Yeah.
But like through an amp with some distortion?
I think when he said he put it on a little 4-track, but I really just dug it. I listened to it.
It's cool. It's really cool, actually. Yeah. I'd love to hear this, like, well recorded.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Maybe even with like a.
Yeah, it's a shame because the band John Boy, remember that we saw at that same show that we were talking about with the band that started up.
Drummer for Operator Generator.
But he also was a drummer with this guy in a band called Bodies in the Basement. Kind of, I don't know, maybe when I wasn't living in San Jose.
Yeah.
Good. I like him, but and he's got another one that's kind of.
What's the name if people want to look it up?
Vampire Heinous Jones. And that song is called Vampire Fangs.
What else have you been listening to otherwise? Have you been listening to any old stuff, any new stuff? Just doing the YouTube jukebox?
What do I listen to? I got really into...
There's a motorcycle outside.
Yeah. Gosh, I think like right now I'm kind of into... like Django Reinhardt again. I'm kind of into that right now. That kind of
old jazz.
Just trying to get
guitar.
those chords wrapped. Like trying to absorb those chords into what we're doing a little bit, just to get some of those minor swingy jazz chords, and I kind of get a kick out out of listening to that music.
Yeah, that, and like I've been listening to Wes Montgomery again lately. I really like Wes too.
Yeah,
a lot smoother than
It's
Django.
funny that you say that because I fell asleep one night listening to a Wes Montgomery like kind of like I don't know, oral documentary of him off YouTube. He's interesting, and he always played in like octaves, like when he did his thing, and that's how he got that sound.
Like he's got an octave pedal running. Yeah, you can hear it in everything. Yeah. It's really unique.
Yeah, he's good. Definitely somebody that I never really dived into, but
yeah. And all right, and then there's one last question. Ooh. You are mostly consider yourself a San Jose boy, right? All-time favorite San Jose band. I think we probably already mentioned them.
It's not one of your
own. No. Wow. I think probably I'd have to say Dear Deceased.
Dear Deceased.
At the time when Sleep was around, Sleep was okay. I thought like they were like, and they weren't really. They were kind of sloppy until they went on tour for a little bit, and they came back and they were just like, oh, all it was just shifting a few little bitty notes this way and that way, and they were killer. But I still thought at the time the most superior band was Dear Deceased for sure, and you can look them up.
Where is it posted? I'll put a link in the description.
It's Dear Deceased. I think it's called. They have 2 albums, but they both call them both promo album. Like they wasn't like officially.
And they're on YouTube.
And they're on YouTube.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll find those.
Good. They're good, and the singer's good. Eric Cliver. He was the first singer in Pro Space Pod 2 for a bit. I tried to jam with him a little bit when we came back from here. He actually lived at Stoner Steve's house for a bit.
Stoner Steve, who shows up on the Operator Generator record. He's on the last. He did something on Acquaintance of Natharack.
Oh, did he?
I forget what it was, but it's in the notes on the back of the album.
He whistled.
I was
kidding.
I went to them when they were recording that record. I was somewhere in Fremont, and then it was and then I think I went with Tom Choi and Mitch back to my hotel room, and then we I think the bass player passed out, and we just played like poker. I don't know. We played cards, but there was like popcorn and beer cans over the whole hotel. I felt it was
nice.
Yeah.
And that record is brilliant. All right, man.
Super brilliant.
Well, I'm glad we dragged you on here. Next is Troy.
That was easier than I thought.
Yeah, it's just stories, and
we're scary.
We are the 2 least scary people probably in the world. So people get put at ease pretty quickly. Well,
so do we shut it off all of a sudden?
No. Yeah, JD will say his final.
Okay. I say my final thing.
You say your final. No,
we've got a surprise episode coming up.
Oh shit, yeah, we do. JD and I burned our assholes last night and this morning eating stupid hot sauce.
Yeah,
and and now we're gonna give away a couple of germ records.
It was a bad idea.
So keep your eyes peeled on YouTube.
Yes,
there will be a video, and we'll give 1 record away to a random subscriber, and then 1 record away to.
Did you say germ record?
Yeah, JIRM.
Oh, that's weird. I was listening to the Germs last night.
Jeremy Irons and the Rat-Skill Bastards or something like that.
Rat-Skin Bastards.
Rapscallion or something.
They're Swedish, like stonery band.
They're really good.
That people love.
Mm-hmm.
And JD and I both ordered 2 copies of the record, intending to give each other 1.
Yeah.
So we had 4.
Mm-hmm.
So now we give away 2. This is not the
not the first time.
It's not the first time.
Hey, I'm trading guitars with my friends
because of Google.
Oh yeah, we're constantly passing records back and forth.
Awesome.
Well, thanks, Carl.
Yeah.
This has been another episode
Thanks,
of
you guys.
Blynd Submyshynz.
Thanks for joining us for another week of Blynd Submyshynz. See episode description for the links to all artists discussed in this episode, and visit their sites to support them directly by buying their music and merch. Share links to the podcast with your friends, especially if they're in bands. Bands! If you want us to listen to your music on a future episode, please submit 1 song to blyndSub@gmail.com. That's BLYND sub@gmail.com. Bandcamp's linked preferred, but not required. Find us on our social media at Blynd Submyshynz. Full video episodes are available on our YouTube. Remember, we go in blind so you don't have to. Blynd Submyshynz.
Blynd Submyshynz with Jeff and JD, Jeff and JD, JD and Jeff, JD and Jeff. Blynd Submyshynz with Jeff and JD, Jeff and JD, JD and Jeff, JD and Jeff.